What is up, party people? This is Jess from Geeked Collecting, and welcome to the Geeked Out Collecting podcast. And for this episode, I really love it. I brought back on Charlie, aka Dulce Pokemon. I had him on about 2 episodes ago, and that was actually a pretty decent long time ago, and it was really great to reconnect with him because there's been so many things that have changed within the markets, within the world. I really wanted the opportunity to talk with him because he has probably single-handedly taught me the most about hobby investing, and I couldn't appreciate him more because I love his perspective. I love his take. So I just had to have him back on because, I mean, pretty much with this conversation, everything came back full circle. We talk about it in the episode, of course, we get into more detail, but he holds me accountable. Last year, I had some certain thoughts on some WOTC Pokemon, and he had some different thoughts on WOTC Pokemon, and thank God I ended up listening to him because he was absolutely right. And 2020 is exactly the manifestation of that. So I don't know why it took me so long in the episode to admit that I was wrong. I was listening to the playback and I was just like, gosh, just say it. It's okay, just say it. But anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and leave this intro pretty short, but I think you guys are gonna really enjoy it. I really hope that you can learn a little bit more or able to take, something away from this episode, because I think it could really help you as a collector, and then if you're also a hobby investor, then as an investor. So anyways, thank you so much for being here, and I hope you enjoy it. Peace out. Shit. So first off, it's been a while. I can't remember when we did this last, and a fuck ton of a lot of things have happened.
Absolutely.
Even just hearing about the breaks last night for those first edition Shadowless cards. How do you pull a Squirtle, Yellow Cheeks, and a Charizard? I don't even know how, but tell me, before we get into that, I guess, tell me what you've been doing collecting-wise since we talked last.
Okay, so mine, I just been collecting, keep doing the same thing. I have been flipping some things, but basically flipping to completely invest all the funds back into the hobby, because I'm definitely trying to buy as much as possible, and I'm trying to hoard up on anything that's WOTC.
Yeah, I mean, you've been saying that from the beginning, WOTC from the beginning, and now we're really seeing that to really kind of manifest. And it makes me a little sad. I know that, I think it was in December, you had posted some listings for those WOTC graded packs.
Oh my
Did you
God.
ever sell those?
I had about 40, and I sold them. You can't, I mean, the amount of law. Well, I mean, it's okay because I gotten a shitload of inventory. So it's basically, the way I see it is diversifying a profile. So I just want to not only have sealed product, but I also want to have PSA slabs because of the presentation. I don't know if you understand my point of view on that aspect, because I enjoy just looking at the cards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. I mean, I feel the same way about the first editions, especially because over the past few weeks, I've actually been thinking about liquidating. Like how I told you on IG, all of my WOTC first edition Shadowless PSA 10s have gone up like 5x. And it's great because I'll definitely make money. But, on the other hand of it, it's hard to get rid of the cards just for the nostalgia. They look great. They look awesome, and then kind of having that ability to say, I have these original WOTCs. It's insane. So I can definitely understand. Have you put some displays up of your cards?
Well, what I do is some of them are in the vault, some of the more expensive things. I got some things laying around here. Let me see if, I don't know, my wife put something up, which is weird, but let me go. I in my back, I don't know if you're seeing, I have all the booster boxes and booster packs. But let me go ahead and show you some of this is my miniature box. This is something I just go ahead and see what it's coming out with. I don't know the screen, but let me see if I can show you.
I can kind of see it.
Like, for example, today I got this bad boy in.
Oh, is that yellow? Is that Yellow Cheeks?
This is the Yellow Cheeks.
Nice.
But it's not any Yellow Cheeks.
Is it the misprint? It's hard to see because it's tiny.
Let me see how I could do this when it comes out. It's not coming out.
No.
It doesn't want to show you.
Aw.
All right, here we go. Let me see if I put something on. Anyway, it's the first edition. It's the no rarity symbol. The no rarity symbol 1996 Pikachu.
Ah, okay.
Which is a significant percentage of what a Yellow Cheeks is. You know, Yellow Cheeks are like 400 in the world.
Mm-hmm.
This is like sub 20.
I mean, that's not a bad catch. That's not a bad get. I hope you got it for a good deal.
No, you're not going to get anything for a good deal nowadays. That's the issue.
No, definitely not.
And it's okay. I mean, like right now with your stuff, I remember last time we spoke, you were actually contemplating whether to dip into some of these PSA 10s because even you at that point thought they were a little bit expensive. And we actually spoke about, you were concerned, you were actually thinking about getting into Hidden Fates and investing in booster packs, booster boxes and stuff like that. And if I'm not mistaken, I told you to deviate from that just because modern is so overly saturated. And it will never retain, in my estimation, it will never retain the, just the premier status that of first edition, which thank goodness you did. And you kept doing it. So if you look, I mean, some first editions didn't go up 5x. Some of them went like 100. I mean, the percentages was crazy. 10%, 11%. I mean, even some of the shadowless PSA 10s were like $50. And now they're like $775.
So do you, I'm curious from your perspective. I mean, you did tell me WOTC. And when you told me WOTC and not do any modern, I really did stop modern because the pack openings weren't that good. I mean, obviously they're the secret rares and the shinies that are really great to have that are going to be more minimally printed, but even still, it's like, it's very unreliable. I think with the sealed Hidden Fates that I have, since I have them, it is what it is. Like I've got them. So what I'm hoping on for myself for those Hidden Fates is because that was such a beloved release of cards. I'm hoping that 10, 15, 20 years from now, because the brand is still super strong right now with the young children, under 10,
absolutely. Yeah,
under
absolutely.
15. So I'm hoping that they remember opening packs with their parents when they were kids and they want to have that nostalgia of like opening packs again. So even though supply is high, I'm hoping that for that nostalgia, demand will be just a little bit higher. I mean, who knows what'll actually happen? Because I agree with you. I don't know if they'll retain their value. Just kind of like modern comic books, that market is super volatile compared to, the Silver Age, those older comic books from the 80s and the 70s. But I definitely, so when we had that talk, I just started every single month buying like a WOTC here, a WOTC there. I really regret selling. I don't know if I told you this or not, but I had gotten it wasn't a shadowless. It wasn't a first edition. It was just a normal like base set booster pack. I got it for $60. I was able to sell it. I know. This was so long ago. I got it for $60. I sold it for $120, and I thought like, okay, that's cool. Whatever, I did it, but I kicked myself in the ass. Like, just.
Well, and this is the thing. Like, let me. Just because I say so, I want to back it up with some substance. Like, this is what happens with, for example, Hidden Fates, Champion's Path, and stuff like that. The hobby's already coming to or reaching a certain maturity. So this is what happens. Already the parents know that it's worth money. So they start protecting the cards. They start actually, actually making sure it's like they treat it as a collectible before it becomes a collectible, because WOTC is a collectible as far as a vintage collectible. And then you got the modern, which is something that people collect, and they're collectibles, but they're not high demand. So what makes it a strong candidate for economic purposes, for economic rise and stuff like that, is that the things that tend to be scarce in the future are things that no one actually collects. So, for example, if you look at a Babe Ruth gold card, one of those gold cards, I don't know if I showed you, the gold card that he had actually was really collected, and it was collected and it was taken care of so properly that it never really got any traction. But the silver, which is this like a second prize, everybody just threw those away because it's silver. Who the hell cares about silver? And then those are the ones who actually got more traction. So that's the whole point behind it. And then besides that, the fact that modern is like right now, they're printing again. So they're just going to print until they maximize on the profits. Yep.
Mm-hmm. That's a really good point that you bring up. Things that weren't collected at the time when they first existed or came out, like those hidden gems, I guess. That's such a really good point. So I'm hoping maybe at some time in the future I can flip those boxes, those hidden fates. I mean, at this point, like the money's already been spent. It's whatever. Maybe I'll, for shits and giggles, open one up, get the Charizard, sell it. I think last year it was going for $200. I don't know how much it is now, but I'm sure it's huge. But, talking about those, and I couldn't really watch that video, that Logan Paul video where he's opening those cards. I couldn't watch it because every time I see someone open up a box that rare, I mean, literally there's one less sealed box, right? And so you get to the point where like there's one and then there's none. And it just, I get it. He sold packs to people and he wanted to do it. And it was a YouTube thing, content, that's cool. It just hurts my heart. It just hurts my heart so much. And
just a caveat to that, if I may, real quick. Like, for example, I still have packs. I don't have plenty of them, but I have heavy packs, like heavy first edition Shadowless packs. But once he opened that box, which I cringed, but because I want it so bad, I want it again, you know what I mean? But once he opens it and starts opening the packs, my packs automatically increase in value. I'm looking at it, I'm like, yep, ching ching, ching ching, there we go, ching, oh yeah, perfect. And besides the fact that the prices that they just skyrocketed on the packs.
Yeah, that 100%. So in like a month, where do you think those booster boxes are going to be at?
In a month, I would probably, just to give you more perspective, I go more by Christmas, because Christmas is that time where you're going to see an uptick. How much of an uptick? I'm not sure, because the thing is, boxes are going to continue to go up. I think by Christmas, it'll probably be around $350, maybe probably going to the 350 mark.
Mm-hmm.
And but because it's getting out of range for most of us, I mean, at this point, I can't afford any of that anymore. I mean, I would have to sell my collection to get one. But
just one.
Yeah, maybe one that's dinged up. But the point is, now we have to start piggybacking on Jungle, Base, and Unlimited. Even Shadowless is high now. So
yeah,
what that does is it creates a buyer pool for the Unlimited. More buyer pool bids up the prices, and now you're gonna start seeing that Base Unlimited boxes, which already went up 100% in like a month, are gonna go up another probably 100 to 200% in the upcoming couple of months.
I like that you say that, because I had a conversation with someone who was looking at getting PSA 8s, 7s, 9s, because that's what was in his price range. And he felt, I don't want to say he felt kind of bad about it, but that's like, obviously everyone wants the 10, everyone wants the pristine, right? And the one thing that I told him is that if you have a valuable card like that, even if it's a PSA 8, even if it's a PSA 9, let's say in the future you want to liquidate, and let's say it's grown year over year in value, your card is more accessible to more people because of the price point that it's at. So it'll be easier for you to liquidate versus that one listing by that guy that's got all those Charizards. He listed all those Charizards for like 2.5 million or something like that on eBay. I don't know if someone actually bought it, but that's such a high price point. Yeah, you'll probably find a buyer, but
Well, now he changed it. Now it's 8 million.
It's still there. Like, it's still on eBay. No one bought it.
Now it's much, much more.
I feel like for those kinds of deals, I wouldn't even fuck with eBay. I feel like, so when I've seen big deals happen, and I've not actually like physically seen it, but heard about big deals happen, for example, with Magic the Gathering, that stuff doesn't happen on like eBay. That's like a person gets in touch with another person and it's like an art deal, you know, where they've got like a middleman that coordinates the deal and they don't ship it. They literally go to the person and pick it up or drop it off or whatever. And it's in like, you know, protection. So to me, okay, so you want to sell all of that for 8 million. Okay, cool. Like totally. You've got value there 100%. I just don't see that deal going down on eBay. I don't know.
Well, the biggest thing it has going for it is COVID-19, which obviously you're not going to expose yourself to doing personal trades. I mean, and I still have a lot of buddies that actually, they don't care. They're getting on the plane. They want the cards so bad. They're going and they're getting the cards in the boxes. And I get it because in-person deals, you get a significant discount because 10% maybe of $100 isn't significant, but then 10% of $50, $100,000, it starts getting to that point where I might just take this risk and go do it in person. But with that said, I think the hobby is still, because of COVID is helping the hobby in the sense that we're with the kids at the house, with our families. We feel nostalgic. We're so bored. We just want to do childhood things with our kids and with our brothers, siblings and stuff. But we still haven't tapped into what you just said, the in-person trades, the conventions, where in conventions and meetings and links up, and when you link up with people and have a get-together for Pokemon or Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh!, etc., that's where a lot of the business goes down. And a lot of the business that's off the top of the head, you know, just off the nugget, you just do it on the spot. So you're going to start seeing another influx of massive movements once if something comes out, you know, any vaccination or anything comes out with COVID-19. But then you're going to start, it's almost like COVID-19, and I hate to say it because it's so bad, but it was a steroid to the Pokemon hobby.
It 100% was. All of a sudden March hit and just boom. And then it kept on, it's just been getting higher each month. I think there was significant, like, I might be wrong on this, but I think there was also another significant increase in August. So like we've just been seeing these increases. And I had another conversation with someone and we were talking about whether or not we think that Pokemon is in a bubble right now. Whether or not we're going to start seeing the prices stabilize and maybe this is the new normal for Pokemon, which I think maybe to some extent it will. I don't know. I'm curious to see your thoughts on that because I don't know that it'll stabilize to like these high prices. And I guess we'll see come December if it continues to spike and then we see a drop afterwards or not. But I don't necessarily think it's a bubble. I mean, it's definitely hyped right now, but I don't necessarily think it's a bubble. But I don't necessarily think it'll retain all of its value. I don't think it'll crash, I guess is what I'm saying. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I'll tell you this. I remember your face, my face here, and we actually spoke about, in the example you said, I think it's going to be a bubble. People are saying it's a bubble. We had this exact conversation before the spike. We thought it was going to, a lot of people, and if you go back to the one you did before and see my response that says everybody keeps waiting for the dip and it keeps spiking.
We talked about that.
And we spoke about this.
No drop.
It's not, I mean, at this point, it's more recognition than anything. The hobby is getting recognized now. You got Logan Paul. Now you're gonna have what's his name? I forgot the rapper that got the Charizard. Anyway, the name is coming off the top of my head now. But he's the one who bought the Zard for, I think, what was it, $220,000-something?
I don't know, but that sounds about right if he got like first edition Shadowless.
Well, the auction yesterday, he paid.
The record. Yeah, like the record auction, right?
Yeah, it was like $221,000 for a base. And we're not even talking. Imagine when a Pikachu Illustrator hits the market, a PSA 10 or 9.
Agreed. 100%. The illustrator is going to be insane. And it would be really awesome. And we did talk about that. I remember that conversation. We said, do you wait for the dip? Do you not wait for the dip to invest? I mean, I think if you have the money to invest, I say go ahead and do it. Maybe it'll see a little bit of a dip, but I was looking at a Tesla stock the other day, and for a really long time, Tesla was down here. Down here. Then all of a sudden it hits these huge spikes. But once these spikes keep on hitting, there was a little bit of dips, but it just kept on continuously growing, right? Probably similar to an Amazon stock. So I kind of think about Pokemon like those companies, in the sense that there's so much confidence. Like there's so much confidence in, Amazon. There's so much confidence in, what other companies can I think of? There's a ton of confidence in those companies to perform well and to adapt. I think Pokemon is similar in that sense when it comes to investors. Investors like them. They like to show them off. And it's a pretty safe bet.
Well, in my estimation, I wouldn't compare it to any company like that because it's unique. It's actually a collectible that has a significant reputation, and it's the number one selling franchise right now. I mean, it sells, I don't know how many billion a year, or it's sold in packs alone. So in that sense, this is the difference between a company like Tesla or a company like Amazon. It's completely dependent on the product that it puts out and its innovations. Although Pokemon does get hyped when something like Hidden Fates comes out and it helps, it's not completely if Hidden Fates would have never came out, the Pokemon stock or quote unquote stock would have still continued to spike. It just probably would have been a little bit less or a little bit, a little bit plateaued or stuff like that. But this would have happened eventually. And, and that's besides the fact that there isn't a, like with companies like that, you can hear people say, it doesn't have that place where if the CEO says something that's politically incorrect, or it's completely reliant on human error. And that aspect, I mean, Pikachu's not going to come out and say some crazy political stance. It's just going to say Pika Pika. You know what I mean? That's what he can say.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have that how do you say it in English? I'm trying to volatility. That's how you say it.
Yeah, the volatility. Yeah,
the volatility. I'm sorry, of actually spiking and coming back up. So in that sense, it's actually a safer. Look, this is how I see it. I see Pokemon, and not because I'm a complete geek with the Pokemon hobby. The demand is there. Now you're seeing external investors come in, and this is what happened with baseball. This is what happened with basketball. This is what happened with every significant hobby. Investors start coming in, celebrities start getting involved, and then it's just skyrockets. And eventually, the Zard and stuff like that is going to get to that supreme level, and then we're probably gonna do this podcast in a couple of months, and you're gonna be like, oh my god, oh my god, you told me.
Are we in a bubble?
Are we in a bubble? Yeah. Are we in the third bubble?
Oh man, that's so funny. Well, you know what I will say though too, and I guess from the perspective of doing the analogy with Amazon, and how it compares possibly to Pokemon, I guess what I meant with that too is I know that Amazon, for example, has a future, just like I know Pokemon has a future. I mean, we've seen the evidence, we've seen the behavior, like what you were saying. Same thing happened in baseball, same thing happened in basketball. We see the behavior and it happens again. History repeats itself, right? So I guess like if I had money to put into the stock market, for example, I would buy Amazon regardless of the time, regardless if I thought it was high or regardless if I thought it was low, because I'm thinking about it from the long-term perspective. Like I know at some point I'm going to make some kind of value back. So I think, and right now I'm actually not investing. I'm being very conservative, and that's, and I have a number of reasons why I'm being conservative right now, but really just one reason, but like what you were saying, it's a sure bet. I mean, it's gonna have the long-term return that you would expect. I mean, I don't know if it would be crazy to say that you can expect it to grow every year. Maybe, but I mean, I think you will make your initial investment back. It's definitely what it seems like. I mean, I wasn't even really trying, and it just grew like crazy. So I'm really glad I bought them when I did, because I didn't buy high. I actually bought low. But, it's all in hindsight.
Well, you thought it was high. You thought it was a bubble.
I did.
Not that you thought. You had people telling you that it's a bubble.
Mm-hmm.
If my recollection served me.
I can't remember exactly. I know we talked about it, but like, I can't remember if I thought, it's been a minute. I can't remember if I thought it was a bubble or not specifically, but I was trying to buy up cards, like cards within my price range that I could afford. So it's obviously not going to be like the Pikachus, obviously not going to be like the Charmanders, but yeah, I mean, at the very least, I was going to start to just buy in. I was going to start just buying in. And maybe at times it felt like they were high. I probably did feel that way, but I mean, history, time will tell. And I was wrong. Long story short.
How do you feel now?
I feel happy that I bought them. I feel super happy that I bought them. And I'm curious to know what you thought, because what I did acquire as well, that I don't know if you knew that I got, but I know WOTC is like obviously super big. We love WOTC, but also I got one of these guys, and I don't see too many of these on the market. And so I'm curious to know what your thoughts are on the originals.
On the Cardass.
Yeah, the Cardass originals pocket monsters.
I think with everything that's Japanese related, I think it's not, it's all right, this is my opinion. I'm not telling anybody, drop your wallets in this specific
disclaimer thing. We're just people.
With that said, I could show you my massive collection of Japanese that I've been pouring a lot of my personal money into. So I'm not just talking out of my what I mean?
You have stake in this. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is what happens. There's two questions. Is the spike going to continue at this record pace? Obviously, no. It'll probably plateau, then it'll see another massive spike, plateau. The same thing that happened with Magic of the Gathering. You saw plateau, massive spike, plateau, massive spike. And I think that's the same thing that's going to happen with Pokemon. I just think it's going to be to a more significant level because of the demand, because of the popularity of the hobby, which is not to criticize any other Magic of the Gathering. So please don't DM me cursing me out. But the Pokemon fan base is humongous. It's huge.
It feels bigger.
So this is what happens. You start getting to the guys and gals that want to show off who has the best and the more scarce thing, and then they become, they start getting to the niches. And the niches is, what's the historical aspect of the hobby? That's what I want now. I want Bandai. I want Cardass. I want PSA 10. I want the original No Rarities, which is the real first edition. And then you start getting to the scarcity, and you start saying, wait, all right, the first edition English population report of a PSA 10 Zard is 150. Let me just say 150. The population report of a first edition No Rarity Zard all together, not PSA 10, all together is like 65. So it's like, whoa. We're seeing a significant scarcity issue. So when you start getting those hardcore collectors that start deviating to the historical and the scarcity of the hobby, which happens in every hobby. That's why the baseball has the Holy Grails, and the Holy Grails are not the best, the most sought after, or the most reputable baseball players. They're not, Sammy Sosa, Roberto Clemente. They're just the card that just has a historical significance versus popularity itself. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, 100%. I would agree with that. Yeah. I mean, because like what you're saying, people want to get even more rare. They want to up it. What else can we find that's hidden? And that's the key. It's hidden, like what you were saying. The gold Babe Ruth versus the silver.
And I think that's what's going to happen with stuff like what you just showed me, the Cardass and the Bandai, because that's 1995, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure if the one you have.
I have 97, so I don't know if this is like the actual first printing. I don't know too much.
So those specifically came out in 97, some are 96, but some are 95, if I'm not mistaken. I think some of them were actually like the town map and stuff like that. I don't have some here. I have some, but not see. And that's the thing. I'm not just talking. I put my money.
Got it.
I put the money where my mouth is. I'm like the opposite way. So,
do you have any sealed decks for Card Ass or any of the original Pocket Monsters? Do you have any sealed product?
I did get this from one of my friends. I'm going to show you. I've never even seen this before. These are wax Pokemon. Let me see if I can actually show you with this camera. I don't even know how my wife did this. You see this pack? And these are they're like scratch offs.
I didn't know that. That's cool. I didn't know that.
I didn't even know that. So I'm like, oh my God, what is But I don't have any decks, like no rarity decks, just because they're like $7,000 now. Just for a deck. So I just not gonna, I just prefer to buy the slabs themselves.
I need to up that. I've been kind of looking at the prices. I've been looking at, just kind of what the market has been doing for those, because once I'm ready to like actually get back in and kind of invest, and it's just been taking so much out of me to like stay disciplined and not buy in, because there's so much hype right now. Like I want to buy in, but like I'm trying not to, because well, I guess to give you a little bit of background, the reason why I've not been investing lately, pretty much ever since COVID started, I've gone completely conservative, completely the other way. So before I had a budget, I just stick to the budget. It was a good, healthy budget for me, and I just acquired a little bit at a time. But then I went completely conservative, started saving all my money, started being really aggressive towards my student loans. So my goal is, let me pay it off April, May next year. I'll have zero debt. Everything I've got is what I'll be worth. So I want to hopefully buy in at that time, which it still feels like I'm missing out on a lot of opportunity. But I mean, I think it's probably the best decision for me at this point in time. But with that market, like that's kind of what I'm looking at right now, because everyone right now is looking at WOTC. Everyone right now is looking at Modern. I want to look at the thing that not everyone is looking at. And that, again, like you said, it still holds, intrinsic value because it's one of the first. Even if, like, in the American market, I think we had talked about this. Japanese cards don't seem to be very popular right now. Japanese versions of the first editions and stuff like that, they're not as worth as much as the English versions is what it seemed. Let me know if I'm like, not seeing everything correct on that, but that's a really good opportunity for everyone trying to, like you said, buy the unique thing, because right now it's not popular, but that's when we're buying low. This is the time that you buy low, even though, a starter deck is probably like $7,000, but get the whole set. Get the whole set, PSA 10s, PSA 9s, whatever you can get. I'm not seeing a lot of listings on it. I actually bought that one off of a collector on IG. So, it kind of hard to find. But
I would actually say, and specifically the card you just showed me and things of that magnitude, I think that is the next thing. And I really don't like saying things like this, because a lot of people are going to say, oh, he said it, let's go ahead and dip. So nothing is 100% guaranteed, but I think that is where, look, everything that Japanese is the real language. Japanese is not the foreign language. English is the foreign language, just in case.
If you weren't aware.
Yes, if you aren't aware, because a lot of people's like, no, it's English. Oh, come on, relax. It's a Japanese product originally.
Mm-hmm.
So with that said, I think that's what, look, the Pikachu illustrator, the Pikachu number 1, number 2, number 3 trainers, they're Japanese. They're Japanese cards. So it's eventually going to get to the point where people are going to say, look, I already have the English. I already got my goals. What's the next thing? Let me go to the historical aspect. Japanese, which is the original, is the number 1. And then you're going to have your little slabs there. You're going to be just chillaxing. Student loans paid off. And you're going to say, all right, if you want it now, it's $50,000 if you want.
I know, right?
At that point, you have them all, and you decide what the market value is, if they want it. If not, then you're fine with that. And that's the biggest thing. Is not all the time try to gravitate to what the hype is.
Because it's kind of too late by then. It's a little too late.
And if you're just doing it because it's hype, then I don't know what the hell you're doing. You just I don't understand. You're not really an enthusiast. You should really think about, look, what do I love? Is it too expensive? That's what I want. But if you're not a first edition fan, Shadowless, which I don't know who isn't, but let's say you're not, then why get it? Like, the only spike I was completely oblivious to is the common cards rising to the dramatic price that they did. I knew they were gonna get there eventually, but not in a 3-month span. That was mind boggling to me.
What kind of jump are you talking?
You know, when the Pikachu went from let's say a PSA 10 was like $500 or something like that, and then it goes to a Red Cheek is now like over $7,500 for one Pikachu common card. It is an error, but it's not a scarce card by any stretch of the imagination. I think there's still like 280 or 300 of them in the world. PSA 10s.
And you know what's interesting about the misprints? That's just a really weird like segment of the market too. They're just some very diehard, misprint fans. They need all of them, which I think is totally cool. But I've seen whole Facebook groups just dedicated to only misprints. Only misprints.
No, they're willing to go to extreme measures to get them. But there's like I have misprints, but the type of misprints I have is like things that, like, let me go ahead and show you one. So we are not. All right, this is a Pikachu. It's called the Ghost Pikachu. Let me see if I can get it close. Oh, every time I try to show you, it's like it doesn't want you to see it.
It's because you have that virtual desktop background, but it's all good.
But here it has a half of a first edition stamp.
Oh, okay, yeah, I've seen that before. I don't know all like the names of the misprints, but I've seen them. Pikachu, honestly, that Pikachu has a lot of different misprints, which I find to be really interesting. But yeah, the misprint market is very, very cool. Like, I remember the triangle. God, what was the triangle on? It was on the pack, right?
Yes, on the sealed product.
Right. You have the triangle error. You have the cheeks. I'm trying to think of a few others. But yeah, you're right. You can't just get any misprint. It has to... I mean, because there's a ton of different kinds of misprints out there. But I think those special ones, like what you're saying, those Pikachu stamps, the cheeks. I'm surprised, though, that there's like 200 PSA 10s.
Of what?
I had no idea. Of the red cheeks. Was that right?
Oh, yeah, almost 3. I think it's over 300.
Wow.
But what does that tell you? That the demand is extremely big. Because usually if you see a LeBron James card, you don't want to see 300 and something of them. You want to see 2. You know what I mean? Something like that. So it speaks volumes as far as where the hobby. And remember, we haven't even touched on my brother, my siblings, which his generation is, once he gets to the 40-year mark and starts getting to good money, and he has liquid funds, then he's going to start investing big in Pokemon. That generation, then the next generation, then the next generation. So the demand is going to keep duplicating, tripling, quadrupling, and then the demand is just getting smaller and smaller because people like us that sometimes open sealed product, people definitely like Logan Paul that actually open a box. So there's a depletion of a product and then a supply and then an increase on demand. So what does that equal? A massive increase in price.
100%. 100%. And, going back to what you said earlier about chasing hype, I really like that you said that because I guess there's nothing wrong with being an opportunist, whatever. You see an opportunity, you're going to go in and you're going to take it, whatever. Like, you collect how you collect, right? Like the thing that I've always said is the number one rule of hobby collecting, whatever it is, regardless, buy what you love. The second rule is follow rule 1, because if you're gonna focus on speculating, because that's how I see it. That's how I see hype chasing. I see it as ultimately speculating, and it can be really risky, especially with the moderns, like what we were talking about earlier. It can be really, really risky. So do you want to have cards that you don't care about and is pretty much just paper and you've wasted money? Or do you want to have cards that you do maybe even like 50% care about, 50% to 100% care about? And if it doesn't pan out, at least you have a really, really awesome card that you love. Like, I think going the second, the second situation is going to be the better one because you won at the purchase because you bought something that you love. So I'm really glad.
I agree with that point of view completely. But some people, I don't hate anybody for their game. Look, if you're here to make some money, go ahead, do your thing. If you're a flipper, do your flipping. Eventually, a lot of people hate them, but a lot of collectors, true collectors, hate them. The way I see it is still beneficial to the hobby. I mean, in the long run, it just helps because a lot of people are like, "Oh my God, now I can't buy my card because this a-hole just made the market just made the market just completely go bonkers." But then they're okay with their Triflotion going up 10%. Or 10 times. And so have you noticed that a lot of people hate that other cars are selling extremely expensive, but then they have theirs at a significant premium if you want that Charizard to still be 50K, then why don't you value your collections the way they were valued 2 years ago? But they don't want to do that, obviously.
100%. That's really funny because earlier this year, I don't know, maybe March, April, I'm on a baseball Facebook group, and this guy posted on there, and he had a picture of 20 boxes of Bowman cards, 2020 Bowman baseball cards. Right now, baseball for the year for 2020 for this season, it's just been so crazy because it's like the COVID season. So you can't find it anywhere right now. So those boxes, I think he either bought them for 20 or 40 bucks and was just flipping them double pretty much. So what he was doing is he was going in there and he was saying, "Hey, I'm normally a part of the sneaker community. I've sold sneakers. I have, verified buyers that can vouch for me. Here, I have all of these boxes of Bowman's 2020s. Who wants them?" Right? And he got so much hate for that because they were so mad. And these are like the really old school guys, I think, that have been in it for a really, really long time and probably fit the personality type of what you were talking about with the the valuing of their collection. But these guys just went so hard on this guy. And I can understand, because if you're like someone just going to Target, trying to like get your packs, get whatever you want, and the shelf, is clean because someone came through and bought that stuff, that sucks. That really does suck if you just enjoy the hobby. But at the same time, like, you can't stop people, so why get mad? Yeah, they're putting themselves in the middle of a transaction, right? I mean, they're just being a middleman. They're just in the middle of it. And so, like what you were saying before, I agree with you. I don't hate people that do that. Is it kind of annoying if it's something that I want? Yeah, but I mean, what are you gonna do? There's nothing you can do. They're not gonna put buying limits, right? Target is never gonna put buying limits on like Bowman's or whatever, like any pack like that.
They just want the bottom dollar. The bottom line was just making money.
Exactly. The printers are the same way. The distributors, the printers, they want that money too. They're not going to put gaps on that, limits on that. I mean, the secondary market has always been kind of crazy for that. And honestly, one thing I do wish they did, I wish they printed just a little bit less, because baseball deals with the same thing as with Pokemon, where it's just a shit ton of printing, like in the 90s. I don't know if you remember baseball in the 90s. I don't know if you collected back then, but I mean, it's just like printing galore, comic books printed to oblivion. And then so nothing is that valuable. But I really wish, and I don't know how you manage these relationships, I guess, but the relationship between the brand / printer, whomever is making the initial money, and the secondary market. Because I know, for example, Supremes, they don't like the secondary market at all. from what I watched. They don't like the secondary market, but I feel like the secondary market has made them big because of that demand. Then like the primary market increased in demand because all of a sudden everyone sees all this movement in the secondary. Everyone wants this stuff, like, and I don't know how you balance it. I don't know how you balance that scarcity with also making the profit on the front end, but we'd be so much better for it.
But I'll tell you the truth, because I do this collecting with my daughter all the time, and I mean, when I went to buy Champions Paths, I mean, there's nothing in the shelves, and it gets annoying because I want my daughter to open some packs. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it tells you about how much in demand the Pokemon hobby is still till this day. I mean, there's a lot of people that hate modern. I mean, you'll be surprised about the sheer amount of hardcore collectors that do not touch modern. I don't touch modern. I don't hate it, but I got a ton of Champions Paths and hidden fates and hidden legends, but I do that more because of my daughter, you know, because daddy-daughter time, you know what I mean? But aside from that, I mean, I just don't touch it. But it tells you that, remember, my daughter is 8 years old. This is what's going to happen. Like, her school has a Pokemon club. So when those kids are 30 years of age, they're going to want to collect what? The WOTC. Because they're already going to, I mean, they're going to have the hidden fates. They're going to have all that stuff. That's going to be the low-hanging fruit. But when they get to good money, they're going to be like, oh, now I'm a millionaire. I'm doing good for myself. Now I want the cream of the crop. And I want to go ahead and get some WOTC. And that tells you that even the investment that you made, those PSA 10s that you bought, even in 30 years from now, are still going to be extremely more valuable than they are now. So the best thing you could do if you have collections like that, put them away and just don't look at them. Don't look at the market go up, plateau, up, plateau. Don't look at any of that. Just forget about it. And because we know till this day, when you go to a Target, when you go to a Walmart, and the freaking shelves are completely wiped clean. And hidden fates, like, you can't find hidden fates either. So that tells you hidden fates is being like and I get it that nothing is selling at MSRP anymore. But that even tells you even more about how much people are willing to go out and spend for modern, let alone what they're gonna eventually look. In any hobby, hardcore collectors end up saying, "Look, I don't want the TY Cobb or the Ty Cobb. I don't want that." But when they start collecting and they get all their normal stuff, right? Then they're gonna be like, "All right, now I want the big dog. Now I really want to get these
big money."
And then get to the big money, get more bidders. Then that the Ty Cobb goes up. It's a domino effect or a snowball effect that goes into the market. And I think, like, honestly, like, look at your cards. Like, how much do your cards go up? Like six times?
Something like that. I want to say, let me see. So I've got a Machop, right? Let me grab this guy. Got a Machop. Cost me like $58 with tax. This is now going like something like 300. So math comes out to around 6x. Something like that. You know, actually, it was really funny. I was looking at this guy. I don't know if you remember this guy. I won this one in a giveaway that you did. This one at the time of your giveaway was worth $20. I'm like, oh, this is cool. Like, I got a cool, cute little shiny Mewtwo. This card, I think, is going for like 40, 45, something like that. So I'm like, oh, nice. Thank you. You pretty much handed me $50. So I appreciate that.
And you keep them and just wait. And because remember, also, PSA is also getting more and more expensive. So that's another thing. Like, anything that I see on eBay, and I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this, and people are going to steal my tricks. Anything that I see like $25 that's in a PSA 10 slab, just buy it. To get it graded alone and just to maybe get a PSA 9 or 10, you're already getting it at a 10 at $20, 25. Just buy the thing. I mean, the process alone is worth the money. So hopefully you guys listen to me and buy everything that I'm not interested in. But with things like that, I buy anything because it's like getting something graded is what, $12, mailing it out, the insurance. or $8 mailing it out, the insurance, and then it takes like 6 months. I got things in PSA that are still there. It's been like 5 months already.
Yeah, they've been really like, okay, so they've not been struggling in the sense of like finding customers, but they've been backed up because of, I guess, COVID. But they already took a long time. Like from the cards that I got graded, I don't know if I had them graded at the time, but since we last talked, but I had a whole bunch of these Panini cards, these Fortnite cards. These were kind of like some exclusives that you could get in like a $60 bundle that came with a few things. And so that's the only way that you could get this stack of cards. So when I sent this in last year in maybe October, it took like close to 2-4 months to get them in. And that was pre-COVID. So they were already behind. But from what I've been hearing, and honestly, I've always gone through a middle person, like except for the first time that I got something graded. I was always going through a middle person, and so to be honest, I can't remember what I spent. But I heard recently that PSA is starting to increase their prices with Pokemon, kind of like how they do with baseball cards. And it's been a while since I've seen their structure, but like if you have a $10,000 card, they charge you based on a percentage of that value, and they know it's valuable. Like they know, they're the authenticators. So,
Yep.
So I heard that they're going to be doing the same thing with Pokemon, but I don't know if you've heard and can confirm that. So
yeah, they're trying to actually basically do the same process. I know it's already like I have cards that I don't know what I'm going to be charged yet. I don't know. Like I got a first edition cards over there that if there are 9, all right, I could get. It's going to cost a percentage of $3,000. But if it's a 10, then oh my god! Like yes, I'm happy, but it's gonna hurt in the wallet. So basically they're doing that or trying to go off of that, do the same thing with. And I don't blame them because remember they actually insure it. So if anything happens to the car while they have it, they actually get a specific, or they back you. Usually they try to give you like vouchers or something like that.
really,
But with higher end things, I think I'm not sure if because I don't grade myself. I always send it with third parties, people that I've always every month I'm like I'm gonna do it. I'm sick of waiting. I'm just gonna express it, and then I'm like I don't want to mess this up. I'm gonna send the card, and I got like either way I can't show you because of the screen, but I got so many things that I got to get slabbed. I already got about 150 that are pending, and it's at this point, a lot of people are saying, look, everything is backlog in PSA. When it comes out, everything is going to plateau because there's going to be a lot of supply. But if you look at the pop reports at PSA with the slabs, everything, they're going up 3 in the last 4 months. Pop 3, Pop 10 went up 3, 2, 1, 0. So it's not that significant. I mean, especially now that they're grading extremely harsher. I think it's more that people are seeing the skyrocket in the price. So before they wouldn't send anything that they thought would get a 7 or a 6 or a 5 or a 4 or a 3. Now they don't care because prices have soared so significantly. They're just sending everything. And that's what's creating the backlog.
yeah, for sure. And it kind of makes me feel like a little mixed on it because A, I don't want my cards to be away for that long. But then B, I've kind of potentially secured a cheaper price if they really do get higher, like you say. Which, I mean, honestly, like, there's still going to be the demand. It is what it is. Like, a company's going to do it. I'm not mad at them. Collectors make so much money off of PSA because of that brand, because of that grading. Like, I have no problem with it. I mean, it sucks because you have to pay more, but it is what it is. Like you don't complain about it. It's just whatever. But I'm curious to know what your thoughts are on something. And I'm thinking I go back and forth on this. So these Fortnite cards that I was telling you about, some of these guys are 1 of 1 PSA 10s, which is awesome. And obviously that is going to change in the future. So there's going to be more population. There's going to be less scarcity. So I'm curious from your perspective, if you're in my shoes, would you go ahead and try just to put a price out there and liquidate? Or do you hold on to them?
At this point, a lot of things are being collected or being slabbed and bought because of Pokemon and because of Magic of the Gathering. And some people are saying, look, because they're being preserved and they're being collected at their infancy, that it's not going to mature and get that really collectible vintage top of the market price. But because all this Magic of the Gathering and Pokemon hype will somewhat trickle down to Yu-Gi-Oh! And Fortnite and things like that, Dragon Ball Super, you're gonna start seeing that those, like Dragon Ball Super is a perfect example. I was gonna buy the box that I think was like $120, and I love Dragon Ball Super. I mean, I was raised with that. I'm a Dragon Ball fan per se, and I was like, I'm not gonna buy this because I don't know enough about it. I'm just stick with Pokemon and do what I know. But if I would have gone with what I loved, I would have probably bought cases of them, and they're like $600 now. I don't know, each box. I'm like, oh my god,
oh my god.
And I do think it's gonna be the same thing with that. You know, Fortnite is one of the most played games, especially, and they're not played like for 20 minutes or 10 minutes. They're like really hardcore played. So I do think it's going to have a market. It's going to be like a big pie. Like before Magic of the Gathering had the significant amount of the pizza pie, of the pie. Now Pokemon is getting a big chunk of it. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is getting a chunk of it. Fortnite is getting a chunk of it. Dragon Ball Super is getting and it's going to keep going like that. So it's a matter of, everything is the good thing that you have going for it is the pop. So scarcity is always going to be a big identifier in where the value of the product is going to be moving forward.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you, and I really like your insight on that because for a moment, because I was getting offers on Instagram for like a few $100 here or there, and it still felt like real low balls, but I don't have data. There's no data. there's no data on this. And so I really love and hate these situations, but hate a little bit more only because like I like numbers. I like making like factual decisions on this, from this perspective. Like I like to see, okay, the last time this sold was this much. I'll ask for this much, maybe put in a best offer, see if I can get a little more than the price was before. And then there we go. Like, that's it. My decision making is over by that point. But with these guys, it's really, really hard to value because no one has bought them, at least in this graded PSA condition. So my thought was, I started to get this really big emotional response, right? I was starting to feel FOMO, and I was starting to also feel some anxiety. I'm like, in this situation, I can't make a decision. Like, I'm not going to do anything. Just because like that's kind of where you make the bad decisions. So what I thought was like, okay, if I should have sold now, hypothetically speaking, like let's say selling now was the way to go, I made money, right? But if I don't sell now, it might possibly be worth more, A, but then B, even if it's not, and even if I've lost, I've still got some cool cards. Exactly. Going back to what we were saying at the end of the day. I got some cool cards. And on top of that, honestly, right now, I don't really have, I'd probably take that money and reinvest it into Pokemon. That's probably what I would do. But since I'm not even sure what I would do with that money, like right now, like what specifically I would invest in other than Pocket Monsters, I decided, let me just keep the cash tied up. Let me just keep it tied up. It's not going to hurt me. It's not going to hurt. So,
and the way I see it is like, that's why, because I could sell $20,000 worth of stuff right now. Like talking to you right now, my phone is ringing. Let's say I look and oh my god, I sold $25,000 worth. Before I go to sleep tonight, I'll waste the money. I'll spend it.
That's exactly That's exactly my point. I'm like, okay, let's say I put an insane price. Let's say I sell it for $5,000. List it for $5,000. I get a buyer. I don't trust myself to buy it on stupid shit.
But I think the way I see it is I don't want to have cash because cash depreciates. And the way I'm seeing Pokemon, in my estimation, I don't see it depreciate. Look, and let's get into like.
That's a really good point.
Let's look at, especially with the stimulus and everything, that we're printing money, so the dollar is losing. But besides that, let's say the market dips. It takes a small. Let's say it takes a significant dip. I don't see it. This is why I don't see a significant dip, because there's people, top big whales, that are just waiting for a 15% dip or something like that to just buy out everything. And that includes, I'm not a whale by any stretch of the imagination, but there's a lot of things that if I know that went down 20% or something like that, man, I'll do anything. I mean, there goes the 401k. All right, there goes a refi on the house. I mean, it's just, so what happens is, even if the market dips, I know so many investors that won't allow it to actually dip. It just won't happen. They're just waiting. How many people do you know that tell you, like, oh yeah, I'm just waiting for the bubble to pop and I'm gonna buy? They're telling you that they're not gonna allow the bubble to pop because they're gonna be waiting to actually support the amount. So it's never gonna take a significant dip. So thanks to everybody, thanks to me also, because we're just making sure the hobby sustains itself for decades and decades to come.
You know, I can definitely agree with you on that, like continuing the hobby. And of course, like I would definitely not want it to dip at all. But I think those are really good points. And you throw out a number like 20,000, 25,000. I want to ask how much your collection is worth, but I also don't, because protection and privacy on that. But with your most valuable items, do you keep that? You said you keep that in a vault. Like, are we talking about a bank vault, like a security box, or like how do you secure your most prized?
Well, I have like a vault, like a little vault, because I have multiple homes. So I just keep it in a home that I barely use and stuff like that, called gated community, stuff like. I don't keep it in my primary residence itself. So that, I mean, I got a ton of stuff here. It's just not stuff that is anything significantly valuable. Well, it depends what you say significantly valued, but probably in this little case alone, I have quite some nice stuff. But I don't. This is like the ones I take out and show some of the friends, and then they go to the vault. But because this is the thing. Like, literally, when I tell you that once I get money in, is money that goes out before before sunlight comes out. Literally, that's what happens. Like, sometimes I wake up like at 3 o'clock in the morning because I'm dreaming that I'm on eBay buying stuff, and I wake up, make myself a coffee, and just, all right,
just hit the market.
How much money is still in PayPal? I can't, and then I tell my wife, I can't leave the money in PayPal because scammers might be able to go ahead and steal it. So you justify in your brain how to go around and spend.
You just want to buy it. You just want to buy the stuff. Oh, it's so much fun. Such a rush when you're like, you get the car that you want. Maybe it was a good deal. Maybe it wasn't. Who cares? You bought a car that you wanted. Something you wanted. Doesn't matter.
And this is another thing. Let me go ahead and show you. When I tell you that Japanese, so I did show you the no rarity symbol. That's a Japanese card. Ivy Pikachu, the first edition Pikachu glossy.
Ah!
Japanese PSA 10. Koro Koro glossy flying Pikachu.
Oh, Japanese. that's the cute little one with the balloons, right?
With the balloons, yeah. The balloon Pikachu or a flying Pikachu.
So cute.
Well, this is the Koro. So there's a lot of reproductions of this. There's the 20th anniversary, Black Stars, but this is the original first one.
Year?
This is 1997.
Okay.
So let me show you here. So when I tell you that I invest in Japanese, Porygon Fan Club, PSA 10. Let me see. Another Flying Pikachu PSA 10.
Do you have the entire set of the original 97 card S?
No.
No.
I got it. Well, now we said it. So I'm actually trying to get. I'm trying to see if anybody wants to do a trade for something that has the whole set because it's so hard to individually get them, and I want them at PSA 10. So, but at this point, I don't even know if to get nines because I've been so focused on tens. I've slept on nines, and nines I've seen significantly more gains than tens because 10 goes up 100, 200%. Nines have gone up 6 times, 7 times. So I'm like, oh, maybe I should get some nines.
Yeah, get like me. Get my 9. I'm just saying. No, I'm kidding. I'm gonna keep this 9. I'm gonna keep it. Gosh, okay. You know, it's talk like these where I'm like, you know, maybe instead of the student loan payment that I wanted to make, because right now we don't have to make any, maybe I'll just buy a whole bunch of Pokemon. And you're really tempting me right now. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but if I buy anything, I'll definitely have to let you know. But yeah, I agree with you. Going back to what we were talking about with the like originals, the Japanese cards. I remember when I first found out about the Illustrator, Pokemon Illustrator, I think they said they printed like 30.
I can't remember the exact count.
Like a crazy low.
Number. Yeah, it's a
crazy low.
Yeah.
And I'm not even seeing that on the market, obviously, right? Because it's like a subset of specific people. I can't remember the story. It was like people who worked with Pokemon or some group worked at Pokemon and they went to an event and that card was given to those people at that event, right? Something like that.
No, the Pokemon, there's the prize cards and stuff like that. So those are trophy cards. They're actually won.
One of one?
No, they're won. Like, they won them.
Oh, gotcha. So they sent in an illustration and then they got like a card back. That's what it was.
It's there's the Pikachu Illustrator, which is that one. And then you got the Trophy 1, Trophy 2. There's the Mega Battle, Tropical Battle. There's a lot of different events. But basically, I mean, the Pikachu, when you say Illustrator, everybody knows, oh yeah, that's creme de la creme. That's the top of the hobby right there. And I think, given that it's Japanese, it should give you some insight as, okay, if the best card in the hobby is Japanese, you're not just gonna want one Japanese card from I think it's 1998. I might be mistaken on the year, but you don't just want one Japanese card. All right, so now let me get some no rarities. Let me get some card ads. Let me get some Bandai. And before you know it, your PSA 9 is worth 7 times what you bought it for.
You're not wrong. I mean, you're really not wrong. We're giving away all the secrets. It's like so many secrets today. I think it's funny how, you know, with the advent of like social media and stuff like that, you know, you can make like normal people, not just whales in the stock market, can make waves on the market itself based on like what you say or what you do. You know, like those waves that all of a sudden liquidate however many, you know, amounts of stocks for whatever company, and that you see huge like market fluctuations just on that one action. And then we hop on a podcast, some random ass people that just collect for fun and invest, and you know, we might say something that all of a sudden causes this like trend. I'd be curious to see once this comes out what happens. But
and honestly, a lot of people, like, once they start hearing things about the hobby, they're really curious. I mean, the amount of people that DM me, that tell me, what do you think I should do? It is time consuming as hell because I have to answer their questions. Is that they'll say like, what do you think of my cards? And I love talking to people because no one in my house speaks Pokemon. So it's like time for me to filter all the information that I have in my brain.
Just give Dulce like 5 years.
So what I do is I'll tell them like, look, I think this card is worth it. This card is not worth it. Get these graded. Do not get these graded. And then like they'll be like, what do you think I should invest in? All right, that's another question. And I'll say I don't give advice on investment, but if you're look at scarcity, there's this, and that. And then they'll say, but why? And because of this. And then because, first edition is the creme of the creme and it's always going to be valuable. But why? And then you're like, because the amount of product it was actually printed is limited and Wizard of the Coast doesn't exist anymore, blah, 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 blah. Okay, you sure? But why again? Because I don't, it's like, but why? You're like, oh my God.
It's a lot of work.
So at that point, I'm like, look, I can't, because I hate telling people exactly what to invest in because not everything is guaranteed. So everything I've invested, well, knock on wood, everything that I've invested in has played dividends. I think the thing that has least gone up is the Japanese no rarities. The no rarities is the thing that least gone up, and it's the thing that I feel most confident about. Tell me if that makes any sense.
Not at all, but
because it hasn't gained momentum, is that I feel so confident about it.
Yeah, it's like what we talked about. We speculate that it's going to be a diamond in a rough, a hidden gem that's going to spike. And at least the good thing that makes me feel a little bit more confident with what we're talking about, even though obviously anything can happen, is, we've seen this happen before. Behavior like this happened before. So it's just, a repeating cycle. And I guess one thing I kind of want to, get into, because we're talking about trends and we're talking about values and we're talking about, what has a card been worth over time. I have technically sort of started planning that program that I talked to you about before, where it actually grabs sales data and charts the sales data on a graph by days. And so you should be able to select timeframes and see okay, this is how many transactions happened on this day, and then trended over time. So that literally you see those cards, or that one card, for example, in a trend line like a stock. I've been looking at stock apps just to kind of see what kind of things they put in there and what they don't put in there, because that's kind of what I want to do. I want to pull actual sales data and chart that so we can see that. And
oh my God.
I know. So, and we talked about this and you're like, yes, we need that. And before I could get to this project, I had to do some things first. So the first thing that I had to do, and I've been like really quiet for a while now, because I've been focused on like building my development skill. For work, I do a certain specific kind of investing development. And so now I'm kind of like expanding that skill so I can actually build these tools. So the first tool that I wanted to put on my calendar to build was that it's like a cute little baby tool. It's a profit calculator. So on eBay, if you want to sell something and you're not sure if you'll be able to sell it based on, the sold listings that you see and how much you got it for, whether or not you'll make money, I have that. So that's been really awesome and really fun. I've been sort of like posting about it, but now that I've gotten that profit calculator out of the way, so, eBay sellers can use what it is for right now, I'm going to turn that into an actual like Android and iOS app at some point, because I think there's some other functionalities that would be really cool, like save the calculations and then create like a listing to eBay. I think would be really cool. But so as I work on that, simultaneously, I'm also going to work on building that trend, like that stock.
Oh my God.
Pokemon stock. Yeah.
If you're able to pull that off, I mean, first of all, you're gonna be making a lot of money, so that's gonna be a good thing. But I mean, a lot of people are investing in Pokemon. There's significantly a ton of investors every month that are coming into the hobby. I'm not talking about collectors. I'm talking about just investors. So on that alone, and everybody, even collectors, they want to know. They just want to know. So if you could just get on, if I could just get on my phone, it's just let me go ahead, pull this up real quick. Oh my God, look, my gold star went up 3x. Bingo. Should I sell? It's almost like looking at the John Doe or something like that. That's basically what you want to do it, but it's basically giving you and you can see like a ROI on exactly how much you want, and you can actually, oh my God, if you could put, I'm sorry, I'm imagining this, I'm thinking
just
you
let
can
me
actually
talk.
sell at I'll put a reminder to sell this gold star once it hits 4x.
Exactly.
Oh my God, that'll be epic.
Exactly. Market alerts. And then so if I tie that to the profit calculator, like